Now, what in the Carnival is going on here? Carnival currently has a K9 unit, a drug-sniffing dog, living on board one of their ships. This is their newest product, their newest cruise ship in operation, the Carnival Venezia, and this is the first time in cruise ship history, to my knowledge, that this has ever been done. Now, the dog is set to be on the ship for the coming months, and, well, as you could expect, people have been torn 50-50. Some people understand because the drug problem has gotten a little out of hand on some Carnival ships. Meanwhile, there are other people that are saying this is too much because, well, they're just trying to be on vacation. They want to be able to have their margaritas and relax without feeling like they are in prison. I understand on one end. I'm going to talk about it in today's video, as I have some accounts of people claiming and alleging that Carnival is doing somewhat an abuse of power. By abuse of power, just to be clear, I am talking about random cabin checks that are allegedly taking place on board, potentially putting a little damper on somebody's overall cruise experience. As many of you know, I was on the inaugural sailing on June 1st on board the Carnival Venezia, and that's the first time we all witnessed the dog living on board. We've seen cases prior that Carnival and some other cruise lines out there, they do have drug-sniffing dogs at the ports. That way they can mitigate the potential risk of passengers using some illegal substances on board, and well, it's turned into this giant conundrum. One passenger claims that their daughter was allegedly locked out of their cabin because there needed to be a random drug search. They felt like they were on an episode of Cops, and they say that Carnival should be ashamed of themselves. It is absolutely inexcusable. We do have another account that I'm going to read off here because it is somewhat long. They said, "I just got off the Carnival Venezia July 17, 2023, sailing and wanted to share an experience I had on day 3. I came back from brunch and could not gain access to my room. I was told to go to guest services. Guest services told me to wait at my room and someone would assist me fixing the lock. I go back to my room. Security showed up along with their drug dog and his handler, Kennedy, telling me that the dog hit on something in my room and they locked me out because they needed to search it. Kennedy, the dog's handler, was rude, condescending, and disrespectful. He told me they already found weed in some guest rooms, and I guess he assumed he was going to find something in my room to justify his behavior toward me. After they searched it and found nothing, Kennedy had the nerve to tell me that the dog may have been detecting something from the prior sailing. While all this was happening, the guest in the room next to me opened their door to see the commotion, and the smell of weed wafted from their room, and there was no reaction from Kennedy, the dog, or security. The whole experience was embarrassing, demoralizing, and insulting. Carnival should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen on their ship. This is a warning for anybody on future sailings that this may happen to you as well." Now, of course, this is just one, well, two passengers' alleged account, so obviously in this situation I am staying objective and neutral. I am not for or against the drug dogs. I've said this on many occasions. However, I do believe this needs to be looked at, because even when I was on board, I'm not saying that I saw anybody that was kind of being harassed to the degree of them having their room randomly searched, but I did see the dogs going around, and well, they were doing I don't know if you call it a raid or whatever, but the dogs were absolutely busy when I was on board. Also, if you're a part of any Carnival group or any Carnival Venezia sailing group on the Facebook forums or Reddit, you will probably at one point see an account of people talking about the dogs if they come across it, and there are people that are just kind of blowing smoke because they do smoke the ganja on board, and they're just not in favor of everything going on. They feel uncomfortable around the dogs, and well, now we have this little situation here. And by little, I mean potentially big. If I remember correctly, this entire thing, this crackdown here, started in the last quarter of 2022. Carnival came out and announced that they were going to be tightening up their rules, implementing more fines, not only for the drugs, but for the disorderly conduct in the form of all the fights and the children running around and causing a ruckus in the late evening hours, putting a curfew for the kids at 1 o'clock. And for the people that are being disorderly, they talked about a potential $500 fine. Of course, as always, I say it should be more, maybe in the range of $5,000 to $10,000. They also talk about the possibility of arrest for both the fighting, all the other disorderly conduct like the drugs as well, and the potential banning from Carnival Cruise Line. So here's my somewhat neutral and unbiased take on it. I had a feeling when I saw the drug-sniffing dog on board, and after speaking with security and they telling me the dog was going to be living on board for a couple of months, in my mind I said, okay, at least Carnival is actually committing to the crackdown that they've been kind of just talking about for, honestly, years. And a lot of people called the bluff and said Carnival's not going to do anything about it, and now we're seeing this situation on the Carnival Venezia. We have not heard accounts of this situation happening on any other Carnival vessel within the fleet. We've seen dogs at the terminals, but I'm talking about them actually living and just kind of thriving thriving on board and the dog doing its dirty work on board and potentially catching people. And I've heard, like I said, from my cruise and other cruises after my cruise was concluded, that that dog has been absolutely busy. From a business perspective, honestly, I do understand. Carnival, believe it or not, does have some competition out there. And you got cruise lines like MSC that's offering, at times, better deals in Carnival as far as the pricing. And there are a lot of people that are looking at their other options when it comes to Carnival. I also said Carnival has somewhat allowed a culture to kind of create itself over the past decade or so. And, well, you got Billy Bob and Tyrone. They smoke on board. They tell their friends. Next thing you know, they come back. And now we have this situation. I told you guys that last year I was on board the Carnival Conquest. There was a man that was going basically door to door looking at people that he thought were potential buyers. He was selling the ganja and the Mary Jane on board, and it just didn't look like a very good situation. He did eventually end up getting arrested as he was caught for something else. He had loud music in his room. He got caught up in an altercation with somebody else. They searched the room, and just like that, boom, he was out of there. That was a horrible snap. Why can't I snap that well on my left hand? Good enough. I also understand from the social perspective and the vacation side of things, you just want to be able to just forget about reality and enjoy your vacation without intervention and just somebody coming in and disrupting that because they're doing a random drug check because they said that they smelled some Mary Jane or some substances in your room. I do understand. I do believe that Carnival is going to continue with the crackdown. However, these accounts will possibly, maybe, I don't know, continue to happen. I just hope that Carnival is going around it as far as the right measures and making sure they're not interrupting somebody's experience that doesn't deserve it. Of course, as you all know, I absolutely love Carnival. I'm on a Carnival ship right now over in the UK, the Carnival Pride. I will continue to sail with Carnival. However, when it comes to these accounts, I will just say that all of you, just a word of caution. If you do smoke the ganja, I'm not saying I'm for or against it. That's what you do by all means. I would say if you're going to bring it on board the ship, you are free to do what you want. You are not free from consequences. And, well, if Carnival catches you, then it is what it is. If you feel like you are being harassed to some degree, then obviously that is a whole other matter. Go to guest services, call who you need to call, write what you need to write, and, well, hopefully that situation gets rectified to some degree while you are on board and you're not having your experience too disturbed. Obviously, at some point, this will all be done and away with, and hopefully Carnival will come out with a better culture on board. And I'm not saying this is all Carnival ships. I'm just saying if they're going to change things, yes, they have to make some things that people may or may not agree with as far as the rules and, of course, just everything that's happening with the policies. But, of course, that's what I got, guys. Of course, this is a short video. I do got to get out of here. I'm in court today, last port of call. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. And as usual, know I love and appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you later. Take it easy.